Hello everyone, good afternoon. At least it's afternoon here in France. This is Patrick from Mind That Matters. Now, yesterday I put out a video and I realized, having looked at it, that the sound is shocking. What I'm going to do now is to go through what this YouTube stream is all about and what I hope to achieve, perhaps, with your help. Now, you may not get it immediately from the title, but it's about mental health. Mine, I'll be speaking about quite a bit. But I also want to hear about yours down in the comments if you have time. It would be greatly appreciated. So I think speaking about mental health is one of the most important things we can do. Mental health is unseen, uncared for quite often. And unless we speak about it, then nothing is going to change in how mental health is seen by others. It's treated because you need a very large approach to mental health. It cannot be done by one person. Now, from the age of 15, I began to suffer from depression. Now, this has over time blossomed into a range of other problems, and to the point that now, in my mid 50s, I finally had a diagnosis. I have personality disorder, and it causes me a lot of problems. I'm lucky in that I have a strong family, a wife without whom I probably would be living under a bridge and drinking out of puddles. And through all the things that have happened, she's stuck by me. So I hope that all of you have at least one person like that in your lives who will help you. What I'd say also is that men quite often start to develop problems about the same age as myself, 15. It's when you start to get a bucket load of hormones. It's when you start to assume your adult shape, but not your adult mind. It takes another 12 or so years to be fully formed. Maybe longer in some cases. I'm still quite childish at times. I'm sure many of you are. I'm not ignoring women. Women in their teens show a lot more maturity than men. The pressures they have are societal, and they're terrible. They're awful. I grew up in a small village in Ireland, and I saw what women had to endure. Young women, middle-aged women, old women. And I also lived near a small provincial, medium-sized provincial town. Yeah. And saw what it was there. Through the 70s, the 80s. I left Ireland in 1986. So, I know that things have changed since, and for the better. Mental health is one of those things that really hasn't changed. It has, but slowly. I'll correct that. I'd also say that for people who say that men and women aren't different, I'd say, well, I don't agree with that because men and women are very different. We're wired differently. We want different things. Just look at it for yourself. Listen to women, a group of women talking, listen to a group of men talking, and you'll find that the differences aren't exactly subtle. You notice that I give opinions sometimes whether people want them or not. I'm quite quiet. But then when I have something to say, I'll consider it and I'll give it. And this concerns my moods. For a long time, I was unable to express how I felt deep down, de profundis, as Oscar Wilde would have said. But over time, that changes because you come to know yourself a lot better. And finding out about yourself can be a good thing and a bad thing. But then you have to accept it and change what can be changed. It's a little trite, perhaps, but this is what has to be done. It's painful, but unless you face up to it, life can be very, very difficult. And for me, it is difficult. My daily routine, I've had to look at that. It's still not fixed. How I eat, what I drink, too much alcohol. But in recent times, that's been reined in. Other health issues have meant that I've had to change my diet. That can be a good thing. Weight has to be lost as well, by the way. It's a middle aged thing, apparently. And acquiring some of the classic illnesses, yeah, that's part of it as well. But we deal with that. We can see that. We can see what happens. What happens between our ears, this takes a lot more work. For me, the damage was done very early in life, and that's near enough a copybook case. There was early childhood trauma, and it took a long time for that to be distilled. It's still ongoing. It's like hitting the biggest bell in existence, and you're that bell, and it reverberates through you near enough for your whole life. You can lessen the impact, and you can turn that impact into something good. Now, what helps me? I'll write. I've written some plays, writing some books, got a few short stories. I think the ideas are great. They'll be bestsellers. But that's neither here nor there. It's the act of writing. It's the act of committing yourself to a page, uh, black and white. That's your life. Then you can see it. It's something that's tangible. That's what happens in here, isn't. It's a way of making sense, and you can play with it, and it allows you to escape. It's a very important part of the process. Escaping, but not staying in it. Not creating a fantasy world. But you can create a fantasy world, but you must remember to leave it. I also carve, carve wood, make walking sticks. And these activities help. Keeps these busy, it keeps this busy, but in another direction. So I'd be privileged to know how you deal with your problems, how you make your lives better, what you do in your life, where you go, if you cook, if you skip, if you like sport, if you enjoy reading, if you enjoy being with other people, if you've made huge changes in your life, what have been the consequences and the benefits of those changes. And then I'll finish by saying this. There are things that don't help me. Thinking is great. I will sit and think, I'll be happy. I'm never bored. There's always lots going on in here. I haven't found anyone else in there yet, but maybe the goblins will be there doing things. What doesn't help me is ruminating endlessly, endlessly, endlessly. Have your thoughts, use them, make them positive. And I hope to speak to you soon. So for now, I'll say goodbye. Be good, be safe, be healthy. And if you have a God, then may your God go with you. Goodbye.